You're watching This Week in Louisiana Politics with Fred Childers.
Good morning, I'm Fred Childers. I hope you've enjoyed your weekend as we gear up for another week. Thanks for joining us for This Week in Louisiana Politics on your local election headquarters. Redistricting is finally underway in Louisiana. This process only happens every 10 years, and there's been a lot of anticipation about how lawmakers will redraw these districts. Political reporter Shannon Hecht breaks down the start of the arguments.
One of those key debates is adding more majority-minority districts. One of the maps does not add any more than there already are, and a second map would add 2 more of those districts, and it's already stirring up some debate around legality. In the recent census data, the white population across Louisiana shrank and the minority population grew. That is why there is such a passionate push to get the minority representation in the legislature. Advocates and the Democratic senators question why Cortez is sticking with only 11 minority districts out of the 39 Senate seats.
If minority population is increasing and the majority population is decreasing, then why shouldn't we look at the possibility of another minority district?
President Cortez challenged the idea with voter turnout. He says if they draw the districts to have more minority representation, low voter turnout can keep the candidate of their choice from getting elected.
So you would have been specifically trying to grab a group of constituents to elect a different person. That's directly conflicting with what the principle is. That the second thing is you would have had to violate the compactness laws. You would have had to effectively gerrymander.
At the Capitol for your local election headquarters, I'm Shannon Hecht.
All right, and that process will continue. Still a long way to go. Some lawmakers had hoped to wrap up by the weekend. Of course, we know that'd be unusual for Louisiana, so debate continues this week. The session must end by February 20th. Governor John Bel Edwards is addressing a controversy, the latest round of reports revealing he could have known about the excessive force used on Ronald Greene sooner than he let on. The Associated Press article brought a text message to light showing the moment Governor Edwards was informed about this incident. The text message from the state police superintendent describes what they called a violent and lengthy struggle ending with Greene's death. The Louisiana NAACP, the Speaker of the House, and Ronald Greene's mother quickly called for the governor to explain himself.
If any integrity can come out of those involved, by all means, put it out there, because we can't continue with this. It's gone its course. There's more. The layers, there's so many layers to this. But at some point, there's people that have it in their powers to stop it, to fix it.
Senator Franklin Foyle says there is a possibility the governor could be called to testify as part of the ongoing state police hearings. Governor John Bel Edwards addressed the matter Tuesday, saying he knew the same information the press knew at the time. There was a crash and a struggle. Our Anam Siddiqui spoke to Greene's family, who says they expected more from the governor.
John Bel Edwards is exposed. So why? Why after 2 years you want to speak to us?
Ronald Greene's sister Danielle Hardin says she is disappointed in the governor. Governor John Bel Edwards is speaking out about his involvement in Ronald Greene's death while under Louisiana State Police custody.
I cannot imagine that had Mr. Greene been right, he would have been treated that way.
A text message between Edwards and LSP from the night of Greene's death was recently uncovered by the Associated Press. State Police Superintendent Kevin Reeves told Edwards via text that after a violent and lengthy struggle, Greene died. State Police later told Greene's family and the public that he died during, quote, a car wreck. But body camera video shows otherwise.
Taser, taser, taser. I have never told anyone, public or private, that Mr. Greene died in a car wreck.
Hardin says her family needs accountability from law enforcement and Edwards.
That press conference was about him trying to clear up his reputation as a governor.
Edwards says he did not comment on the video of Greene because the U.S. Department of Justice initially asked the videos to not be public.
It is sad. It is regrettable that I am here under these circumstances talking about these things.
And that was Anam Siddiqui reporting. Edwards met with the Legislative Black Caucus before that news conference, and he says they agree more needs to be done to improve state police. Louisiana Congressman Troy Carter is pushing the FBI to find those responsible for making bomb threats to historically black colleges and universities across the country, including 3 institutions right here in Louisiana. Southern University is one of at least 12 other HBCUs put on lockdown this week. Congressman Carter says the threats remind him of another horrifying moment in history.
It's incredibly sick to think of anybody that would attack universities and places of higher learning. It's reminiscent of the church and school bombings of the past. It's unconscionable.
The FBI is urging the public to report anything suspicious to law enforcement. Looking ahead to the fall election cycle, Louisiana's 2 current senators seem to have reconciled. Senator Bill Cassidy tells me he is endorsing Senator John Kennedy's re-election campaign. That might seem like a no-brainer. They're both Republicans, but questions were raised about their political relationship after the January 6th Capitol riots and Cassidy's vote to convict former President Donald Trump at his impeachment trial.
Have you endorsed anyone for the upcoming Senate race for John Kennedy's seat?
Yeah, I haven't, but I am right now. I'm supporting John Kennedy. He's a great colleague, has done a lot of things for our state, and I'm looking forward to him being reelected.
Kennedy has at least 2 other challengers in this election, Gary Chambers, who you just saw, and Luke Mixon. The city of Carencro will also look to elect a new mayor for the first time in nearly 20 years. Mayor Glenn Brasino announced he will not seek re-election next year. He'll retire December 31st. That's the end of his 5th term in office. He also served for 24 years on the city council. Brasino said in a statement that health issues played a major part in the decision. He says there comes a point when it's time to pass the baton, and now is that time. The Baton Rouge Area Chamber is helping people in the capital area find a job. They're launching a site called brworks.org. There, people can find hundreds of jobs in fields that include nursing, restaurants, construction, and more. Keywords in your resume will connect you to the best fit. BRAC members say it's a great tool for local businesses who need to find employees.
There's such a labor shortage now that if we can get people applying to jobs and applying to the jobs they're the best fit for, that's great because it takes down the HR time and the hiring process time. And these companies really need people to come back to work.
The program is already seeing success. Within the first few hours, the company says hundreds of people were online exploring. One Louisiana lawmaker is introducing a new bill to prepare for future pandemics, hoping to avoid the type of massive healthcare and economic crisis we've seen over the past 2 years. Louisiana Senator Bill Cassidy and Wisconsin Senator Tammy Baldwin are introducing a bill called the Tracking Pathogens Act. The bill would advance the nation's ability to prepare for future pandemics. In a call this week, he compared tracking these pathogens to the way the government tracks terrorists.
If a virus or bacteria gets to our shores and begins to spread, you spend a lot of money catching up with it. If you know that it's going to be coming when it arrives, you catch it on its way in and you save all those dollars.
The senator says it will cost around $175 million, but claims this will actually save taxpayers money if we plan ahead. This week, we also learned Pfizer is working on a vaccine for kids as young as 6 months old, and they're seeing promising results. Pfizer has requested emergency use authorization for its vaccine in children 6 months to 5 years old. If the FDA and CDC give the okay, the federal government says it's ready to roll out millions of those low-dose vaccines for young kids. The head doctor at Children's Hospital in New Orleans says the sooner, the better.
And I'm confident that if the FDA and the CDC review all of the data and come to the conclusion that the benefits of the vaccine outweigh the risks, that this will be the right thing to do. And I hope parents will step up.
Dr. Klein says the FDA Advisory Committee is going to meet February 15th to make a recommendation. Tuesday marked the first day that most students who attend New Orleans public schools need to be vaccinated. They're among the first in the country to require vaccines. Jordan Lippincott reports.
NOLA Public Schools Superintendent Dr. Henderson Lewis says his school system is using the February 1st deadline as a day to reassess and to see which students haven't submitted a vaccine card or exemption form.
And our schools will continue to work with our students and our families over the coming weeks and months to continue to support them to either become fully vaccinated or to get that exemption form on file.
According to Superintendent Lewis, 40% of kids ages 5 through 17 in the city of New Orleans are fully vaccinated.
But I'm also proud to say that when you look at students ages 5 through 17 that have received their first dose at least, it brings us to 56%.
And that percentage increases to 79% when you look at kids 12 through 17 who have received the first dose.
And then what it says to us as a school system that we're on our way to have our students fully vaccinated and really protect our young people so that we can not only prioritize in-person learning, but we also make our community a healthy place for all of our community members as well.
Lewis is reminding parents that for all vaccines, including COVID, there is a form of exemption that can be filled out if the parent is opting out for medical, religious, or philosophical reasons.
We want our families to know that no one is going to be excluded because either you can go through the process and become fully vaccinated, or you have the opportunity to actually fill out the exemption.
Jordan Lippincott, WGNO News.
Coming up, slow progress continues in hurricane cleanup, what victims need to know about how to get recovery help. Stay with us.
This is your local election headquarters.
Well, the state's first climate action plan was unanimously approved Monday by the Climate Initiatives Task Force. According to the governor's office, Louisiana's plan will limit the severity of climate change and keeping up the state's economic competitiveness in a low-carbon future. That includes the governor's goal to reach net zero greenhouse gas emissions by the year 2050. The task force will meet again in March. It's been a little more than 5 months since Hurricane Ida, and for many, the recovery continues. Jordan Lippincott talks to those still trying to get back home.
With the help of Rebuilding Together New Orleans, Ronald McGee is getting repairs made to his house following Hurricane Ida.
And within 48 hours, they came in and they did my roof, which was, I'm telling you, a blessing in disguise. And then they came in and did the fence. The fence had blown completely down.
Rebuilding Together New Orleans is committed to repairing 50 roofs in the New Orleans area before July 1st.
And that's actually made possible by our partners at GAF. They're going to donate all of the shingles, and then we're going to partner with local contractors to get 50 families new roofs before summer.
A spokesman for GAF Materials Corporation says he and his team are building more than just houses.
With resilient building practices, that's how we're going to help to ensure that homes and families kind of are more resilient when these storms keep coming through.
Sponsors of this community service project call it a rewarding experience.
And knowing that we're having a direct impact and just getting to meet the owners of the homes and talk to them and just see really the gratitude in their eyes and just how much they appreciate it. I mean, it's really one of the best days of the year for us, so we really love it.
McGee says rebuilding together is a blessing.
And there's no way that I could have accomplished what they have in a period of time that they did. Now, I stated that it took 4 or 5 months. Well, if it had taken a year, I still would not be in this spot if I had to come out the pocket and pay for these repairs.
Jordan Lippincott, WGNO News.
All right, great to see. Nearly 2,000 households that survived Hurricanes Laura and Delta are getting more time in FEMA-provided housing as they complete the final steps of their recovery. The temporary housing program was scheduled to end February 28th. FEMA now pushing that as far back as October 31st. But residents who stay will be charged rent based on their income, though it's expected to be far below fair market rates. Louisiana expects to get more than $100 million to clean up abandoned oil and gas wells. It's part of the bipartisan infrastructure package. The state has just over 4,600 abandoned wells, and cleanup could cost more than $400 million. Baton Rouge is now facing a drinking water supply issue. Salt is getting into our water, and how to combat the issue is now a top priority. Ariel Salk brings us the story.
There are issues that we're dealing with involving the groundwater supply.
52 billion gallons of water are pumped out of the ground every year in the capital area. A little over half goes to your home for drinking, bathing, and watering your lawn, while the rest is used commercially. Executive Director of Capital Area Groundwater Gary Beard says we need to change how we track our water.
Currently, the 400 plus wells that we have in the district, it's all self-reported. Some have meters, some don't.
This is a problem because eventually the water could run out. And before that happens, salt intrusion into the supply needs to be monitored and stopped before it gets into our faucets.
Some people believe that it might be another generation before it becomes a serious problem. Other scientists believe that it's probably more imminent. I think that we shouldn't take any chances.
The cost of the meters will appear on consumers' water bills, but Beard says big industries will pay for most of the bill while homeowners won't see much of a change.
It's spread across the board based on consumption. So for the average household, it's pennies a month.
Beard emphasizes the importance of the essential source we all depend on.
We need to make sure that we conserve our drinking water supply to the best of our ability. We would encourage everybody to be involved.
Ariel Salk, Fox 44 News.
Coming up, Louisiana unveils its last marker in the new Civil Rights Trail. What this site says about Louisiana's complicated political history.
This is your local election headquarters.
As we start Black History Month, a special building in the 9th Ward of New Orleans and the story behind that building is honored with a historic marker. Christopher Leach has the story.
On November 14, 1960, an angry crowd stands outside of McDonough 19 in New Orleans as 3 first graders, Leona Tate, Tessie Prevost, and Gail Etienne, make their way up the stairs to integrate the school. 62 years later, it's a different crowd. its family, and friends, celebrating McDonough 19 being the newest addition to the Louisiana Civil Rights Trail.
And I knew when I got to the person that told me that your vision could be done, it was my time. And my vision turned into a reality, and I am so glad.
McDonough 19 is officially the TEP Center, named after the 3 women who integrated it at age 6. The TEP Center is the 5th marker on the trail, with more to be added, an idea that arose from the Lieutenant Governor.
I never learned it in school. I didn't know about the 3 little girls that were led into the school by police. So to be able to put that in an educational plan to be downloaded in schools or at home will be a tool that will be able to be used for an education for many generations.
The marker shares the story of integration, and the TEP Center will be used to actively engage in dialogue with the community of the many who made equality possible.
You just don't know how many people we've gone to that didn't know the history of what happened at this building. But we're here, we will have some racial healing in this building that will start a new horizon.
All right, that was Christopher Leach reporting. Up next, we'll have a look at the week ahead on your local election headquarters. Stay with us.
This is your local election headquarters.
Looking ahead to the coming week, tomorrow, State Representative Vincent Pierre, the new chair of the Legislative Black Caucus, will speak at the Baton Rouge Press Club. Of course, we'll continue to follow the special redistricting session and bring you the latest updates from the Capitol. Our Shannon Hecht will be down there for all of that. Thank you for joining us for This Week in Louisiana Politics. I'm Fred Childers. Stay safe, stay informed, and I'll see you next Sunday right here on your local election headquarters.